All right, everybody. I hope everybody's Wednesday is going well so far. We'll go ahead and get started here today. For anybody that wasn't able to join last week, my name is Grace Sandberg, and I'm a print services coordinator and graphic artist. I'll be leading the Tips Tuesday sessions for the next few weeks. Before we get started, I'll go ahead and give you a quick breakdown of kind of what to expect today, as well as a couple of reminders. Firstly, if you weren't able to make it to last week's session, but you were registered, I hope you received our follow-up email with a link to last week's recording. And if you weren't able to join us, but you were able to register after Friday, please reach out to us. I have contact information at the end of this session, but we'd love to send you that video link as well so you can get caught up. Um, that being said, let's go ahead and get started. Today we're going to cover assigning sets and EPDs in your sale book, adding lot details, and adding your creative direction pages. Make sure to stick around till the end of the session so that you can be there for the Q&A, which if you have questions as we go, please put those into the Q&A section and we'll answer those at the end. But feel free to put them in there as you go so you don't lose your train of thought. And with that, let's go ahead and get started. Let's go ahead and get started. Along the left-hand menu of your screen, we're going to click Assign Sets EPD. Okay, now a couple of different things to note right off the bat here. Firstly, if you've done a sale book with Angus Media before, we can import your old sets. So I'll show how that works and go import from sale book. And then I can select any of the sale books I've previously done before. I'm going to navigate back and we're just going to also create a set from scratch, but just know you can do that. Another option before we start really quickly is NAs. So you may have seen in the sale book before where an animal didn't have data for a specific EPD. They might have an NA. We have the option through Pasture to Publish. We can either have the NAs come into your sale book, or if you don't like the NAs coming in, then we can go ahead and turn those off by using this toggle button. I'm going to turn them off. I think it clutters up the books and I would rather just have a blank box. So those are now turned off. And now I'm ready to add a set. So my first set, I am going to call Angus Bulls. Now, you can really break these up however you want. It's really, spring bulls, fall bulls, all bulls in one set, all heifers in one set. Those are totally up to you. The only thing really to know is that all different breeds have to be in different sets. So, I'm going to say this is a AAA set and add. Okay, now I'm going to hit add and remove lots. And it's going to load here for me. Now, this is going to be bulls. So I only actually have a couple of Angus bull lots in here, but I do want them to have different EPDs than my cows. So I'm selecting those two lots and I'm going to hit save. Okay, now I'm going to add another set and that's going to be my Angus heifers. Again, I'm assigning the breed as AAA. I'll come back to this alternate set here in just a moment and explain what that is. I'm going back and adding lots to this set. So really the easy thing here is I'm going to click this button, which will select all of my available lots. I don't want these embryo lots in that set, so I am going to remove them, but those bulls were already assigned, so they no longer show up and need deselected. And again, hitting save. Okay, I'm going to add another set here, and this is going to be my embryos. Again, the breed is AAA pending here. That is the breed I assigned to those lots. Again, add remove lots. Now those are the only two available to select in that breed, and saving that and moving on. Now I have one more set to add here, which are my Simmental lots. So I'm gonna just call it Simmies and select Simmental as a breed. and hit add. Now, before I click that add button, I do want to explain this alternate set function. If we have a set of, say, BIR lots that are going to be registered soon, what I can do is if I select BIR, I would be able to say which set those would fall into once they were registered. So I could have BIR lots with females as well as bulls, and I could select those to go into the correct set as soon as they're registered. But these are Simmental lots, so I am going to just select Simmental and hit add. But now you know how to do that if you do in fact have BIR lots who may be registered sooner than later. Those will update with every Friday with the EPD updates. So things to know. All right, we're moving on to assigning EPDs, the really fun part here. So these are my Angus bulls. Now, up here at the top, you're going to notice we can select ranks. Now, you don't have to use ranks if you don't want to. I really prefer to have them in there, so I'm going to select the percentile that I would like displayed, which would just be the top 25%. And then I'm going to start selecting what data I want to come in. So first, I do want all this general information about my animals. So animal name, their sex, tattoo, etc. Now I'm going to move on to my pedigree. I want a 3-generation pedigree here, and I do want reg numbers on the sire and dam. So I'm selecting that. Moving on to production EPDs, we're just going to go through some of the basics here. So CD, birth weight, weaning weight. I do want yearling weight and scrotal. Moving on to maternal EPDs, heifer pregnancy, CEM, milk. Our new udder EPDs, teat and FL are available. I'm going to select those. And I'm just going to continue to work my way through the different EPD options. And I'm going to go back actually because I'm in Colorado, so I would want PAP. Moving on to carcass, I would like carcass weight, marbling, fat, and one thing I didn't know at the beginning is we can still add accuracies, although they're not seemingly as popular these days. I don't want any dairy indexes, but I would like $C and $B to show. And just note the ranks that we selected earlier will come in on all of the available EPDs. We don't, it's not like accuracies where we can distinguish between the different groupings of EPDs. We do have ultrasound data available to select as well as weights, performance data. We can also add some dams production data in here as well as the animal's own production data. So I'm in fact going to do a couple of ratios here. And then we also have DNA as an option. So one thing to note, if you would like your profile logos to come in, let's say you select profile logo here, but then you would actually like sorry, I did that wrong. Let's say you want the generic AGI logo to go in. If you just select this, but not the profile logo, it's not going to turn those on. So you actually have to select both. If you will have, say, a HD50K logo come in, you can just deselect the generic AGI logo. And I actually don't want DNA values, but if you did, you could select those as well. And then I also have some other logo options like CAB targeting the brand as well as powered by Angus, which is an opportunity there for a vest. You can get a vest if we use those logos within our book. Now, I jumped a little bit ahead and I hit the next button without talking about it, but I'm going to move forward here to the upon request section. This is where we can really ask for some customization in our EPD profile. So I would actually like the top 5% ranks to be highlighted, and I want those in yellow. And then I would like all the other percentiles to be highlighted in, let's say, green. Okay. And that's just letting my artist coordinator know what I need. And then I could also say upload a brand if I wanted that to go with each photo. If you have consigners, that could be uploaded. We could also upload other data image files here. Now, a big one I'm also going to mention really quickly is the Missouri Show Me Select logo. That wouldn't fit for a breeder in Colorado, say, but that is an option that is popular amongst our Missouri breeders. So just know you can add that. And then you can upload any additional data. So if you have ranch data you would like to upload, you can upload that here as well as a logo. So this logo is actually one, it's white so you can't see it, but that I would like uploaded, and it will go on all lots. So I'm going to let my coordinator know that. Okay. And then I hit save and I'm done with that set. So now I'm going to just quickly run through and assign EPDs on all of these. Same thing for the Simmental lots. Gonna assign some EPDs here. Now you'll notice that screen is a little bit different because it is tailored to what we have available for Simmental EPDs. So I'm just going to hit select all and keep it nice and simple so we can keep moving through this. And you'll notice we can also do a profile logo there as well. And next, and I don't have any special instructions to add there, so I'm going to save that. And I realized I hadn't added my lots there, so I'm going to select my Simmental lots and hit save, and we are good. So there was kind of the first step in customizing our book. Now we're going to move on to the lot details screen, which we talked a little bit about yesterday because we did connect some photos to our lots. So you can see that here. This lot was one that I had attached during the bulk upload. So you can see I already have a photo connected and my cut lines came through, which is excellent, as well as my footnote. So I'll just kind of scroll through. You can see this was a lot we moved around. Now the lot did stay with them. It just was moved to a different section, right? So we might have to change our cut lines there. That's just something to be aware of. But otherwise, we should be good to go. So I do want to show you how to manually now add some information. So first of all, I'm going to scroll down here to a lot that we don't have any info on. Okay, so let's say lot 3. If I would like to add a sire photo here, what I can do is hit this drop down right here for the pedigree, and I can copy and paste this name so that I can go find the corresponding photo. So now what I have to do is hit add media, and we'll see if we have a photo on file. So I'm going to start in the Angus gallery, and I'm actually going to use quotations around my name. We'll see if we can get this guy to come up. There we go. So we do have a photo. Here's the colored version if you have a black and white book. For some, we do have black and whites. If you don't have that, just add the colored photo, and then in the instructions for image right here, we just need to note that that would be black and white, which our photo coordinator will also take a look at on their end. Now I'm gonna copy and I still have that name copied, so I'm gonna add the name. I'm going to say sire of lot 3 and then hit this red save button, and I'm good to go now. Now, one other thing to note, if this is going to be the only image for this photo, I'm going to leave this selected as primary image. But if I have multiple photos like I do here, see how it clicked reference? And that's because of the column I chose in there. So you can also assign this as a reference image. Not a big deal there either way. Now, I showed you how to add a cut line for those photos. We can also add a footnote here. Something really generic. Okay, we're gonna now add a placeholder. So I'm gonna scroll down. Let's say we have photos coming and we know which animals need photos. I can add a placeholder by clicking that button, which now you'll see I have a placeholder there for that image. And I can even assign a cut line for that. So let's say we're going to be a little more detailed with these cut lines. I can copy and paste that name in there. And now I have a cut line ready to go. And all I need to do is replace that photo when the time comes. Now there's a couple of ways you can do that by either selecting upload new version or replace image. So upload new version is going to take you to your computer to upload a photo, or replace image is going to take you to Book Media, where you can then select a photo if you need to. I'm going to leave that as a placeholder for now, just so we can see how that functions. Okay, now we've kind of gone through the detail or lot detail screen, but I do want to show you a couple of other features. One here is we can actually expand on this lot details screen and make it bigger and see more information. So as you'll see, we can actually do some customization in here. We can also mark a lot as out of sale or say it's a reference lot. So for reference sires, or maybe we have popular dams who are used a lot for flushes, we could select that. We can also mark a lot for fund the future and add a donation percentage, view the pedigree again, and we can see what EPDs are going to be displayed in the sale book for that lot. And we can also select if it's sire and dam EPDs or the lot's own. So maybe we do want sire EPDs for that. We can select that there or just leave it as lot's own. We can also adjust sets in here as well. That's going to take me back to that lot, to our set screen to assign that lot. Jumping back into the lot details here, I do want to show you the other way to upload footnotes. So I'm going to go to this footnote button right here. I'm going to hit download footnotes. And then I'm going to save that in my folder and jump back over there. And right here, tip 2, the live webinar test book footnotes. Now I'm going to open that file. And you can see here, I have quite a few columns again in here, which are just those lot details that we've kind of already worked through. But the main thing I wanted to talk about is our footnotes, because now I can edit these footnotes. So I could say I want to delete part of that footnote. I can add additional footnotes. All right, now I'm going to upload those footnotes. I'm going to select that file again and hit open. And now it's going to regenerate my footnotes. And I'm going to hit refresh here just because it looks like it didn't want to refresh for me on its own. And now you can see that those footnotes were changed and added. And you can just scroll through all of these lots. We have different pages, so there's 10 per page. So you can see here that was added. And yeah, so that's basically the big detail or big things of lot details. And now for the last part of today, I'm going to go through creative direction. So here you can see the creative direction tab. Now, creative direction pages are really anything that doesn't have a lot on it. So that could be sale book inserts, your welcome page, letter page, again, anything that doesn't have lottings on it. So you will see we do have a front cover section here. If I click into that bookmark there, it's going to bring me into the page details, where here I can leave instructions. So I want a really cool book this year. I'd like to update my cover. So I'll leave some instructions here for my designer. Okay. So I'm going to go ahead and move on now. I actually have a couple of sample images here. So If I hit add images, it could bring me to my book media, which if I had uploaded those photos already, I could access, but I'm going to grab them from my computer again. And so I actually have two photos here. I'm going to hit open and add to media. If I had a, say, camera ready cover that somebody else designed, I could upload that here. I can also upload a Word doc with more information. And then I can do the same thing here for my back cover and just say use whichever photo isn't on cover. Okay. I can add any additional details there as well. All right. Now, a couple of other options here is I can add a new page. So for instance, my letter page, which I'm just going to title letter page, and then I could add some instructions. Okay. And then I could even copy and paste my letter into here, and that just really kind of streamlines the process for our proofreaders. Again, I can come back and add images, and I've just let my artist coordinator know that I have photos coming for her. So I'm going to hit save. And then the other feature I wanted to point out was this import from previous sale book, which would allow me to import pages from my old sale books. A couple other things here. These are just kind of more instruction pages or instructional information for your designer. If you have a design that inspired your book, and you kind of would like them to get inspiration from, you can upload that there. You can upload a book from a different designer for reference. You can let us know if we've done a sale book with us before, and you can also upload your logos here. So I'm going to upload that logo again because I'd like it used throughout. And then I'm going to hit save and next. And now we are done with the creative direction pages. We've also covered our lot details and assigning sets and EPDs. So let us know if you have any questions. Let's go ahead. Alrighty. Give everybody a few minutes here. We've already got some questions. What happens when I can't find a photo I want to use in the Angus gallery, or if I have a photo to add that I have sent the book to work on? So if you can't find a photo in the Angus gallery, my suggestion is leave a placeholder for us, and then in the instructions you can let us know what photo we need to look for. Occasionally those photos just won't be loaded into Pasture to publish, and we might have them on file. Or if there's a book that a photo is in, you can let us know what book that's in and we can pull it. Yes. So can you run our photos through Photoshop to lighten or crop? We can do that, and we do make sure that all of our photos are the correct resolution for print. If I use highlights, do I need to include percentiles in the footnotes? That's totally up to you. We do have a footnote rank option. So if you'll leave a note in the upon request instructions, we can actually have an automatic footnote created for you. And while those obviously won't update in your printed book, they will update every Friday on the online book. So those would be live just like the EPDs in the sale books. Are there any other automated footnotes you can do? The only automated footnote options we have are the footnote ranks. We can actually do those in two different styles, so they can be as a footnote on your EPD profile, or we have a column option, so we can kind of customize that to just make sure it looks the best in your specific book. But basically, you can think like 3 columns, and those will just automatically fill in with their ranks depending on the percentage you want. Yes, so the rankings in the footnotes would come in as a comment that says top 1% dollar C, top 1% dollar B, and so on and so forth. And we can customize which EPDs are included in those footnotes. So it doesn't have to be all of the EPDs, and it also can be whatever percentiles you would like. Is there a limit to the number of characters in a footnote? No, there's not, but I would just say be conscious of the amount of lots and photos that you're putting on a page because pages can get very tight very quickly depending on the number of lots and photos as well as the amount of data you want to include. So um, that's just something I like to be conscious of. My RM mentioned we could do Dam's production as footnotes. Gail and Jenna, I have Gail and Jenna and Ella are on as well. Can we do that?
Yes, it's similar to the footnote ranks, but it shows their dams production instead.
Perfect. And then what resolution is needed for print? I would have to, maybe Jenna can pull it up here. We do have a kind of photo FAQ we can always send to people if you have questions on that. But I believe it's like 300 DPI. And then we just try not to let those photos go over like 20 megabytes because it really will weigh down your book and loading time online. Any other questions? Can I include extra reference photos online but not print them in the book? Absolutely. So in that lot detail section that we went over, there was those check marks for the image to be a reference or the main image, the primary image. There's also a selection that says print in the book or web only. So you can include multiple reference photos on the online version, and those actually will show in the easy view section of your book once it's posted online. How many AAA lots can we include on a page if we do not have photos, but lots of data, including genomics? I would say probably 8 to a page is if you're going to have a lot of data and genomics, eight per page is about where we want to stick. But if you have, say, only maybe you want to only include like 6 EPDs, we could definitely probably try and fit more like 12 on a page. Um, but if you have lots of data and genomics, probably only 8. Can you calculate my offering EPD averages? So yes, this is a new feature in Pasture to Publish that we just launched this summer. We can now include EPD, your offering averages, and so that way you can compare them against the breed average on, like, say, the bottom of your pages or once like up on your letter page or something like that. So yeah, that's a new feature we've added. Do you have recent examples of Angus Media catalogs online that we can look at to see font size, layouts, etc.? So if you navigate to angus.org and go to the marketing, there's a marketing menu, and that'll take you to the sale books page. There's an option there, and you'll be able to see Angus Media books are denoted. They'll have an Angus Media logo underneath them. So feel free to check out any of those books. And also, if you just have that conversation with your coordinator artist, we'd be happy to send you some examples or help you find some inspiration for your book. Okay, well, I'll give everybody just a few more minutes here, a few more seconds to add any last questions. But again, so please feel free to contact us, our phone number and email there so you can reach out to us. There's also that QR code which will take you to the Tip Tuesday um, video recordings that we've done, both the ones we've been posting over the last few months as well as the last week's recording. So feel free to scan that and it'll take you to that YouTube playlist. Is it becoming more common to have online only catalogs versus print catalogs? Um, I would say not necessarily. We still have probably the majority of our books are printed books. I think that honestly, personally, I think my team would probably agree. The online catalogs are maybe a little bit underutilized. Especially for guys who have female sales, say in the fall, where it's more of like a show cattle type of sale. You could utilize it for that, as well as, a private treaty online only sale book. We all probably have bulls that just aren't quite ready for sale day, and so we want to have that offering live. So those online books are up for 6 months, and you can get a lot of eyes on them over the 6 months. And we can also make updates to those books as they're online. So those are always a good option if you want to save some money on print costs and mailing costs, but you still want a book out there. If I do an online only sale and want to print some for sale day, can I still do that? Absolutely. So you can do an online only book and you can either have the handful of copies printed through us, although it's usually going to be cheaper for you to take that file to a local printer if you're only going to have, a few copies printed out for sale day. Okay. Well, thank you everyone again for joining. We've had some really great questions here, and make sure to just stay tuned for our follow-up email, which will again have the recording from today's session. So